Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another very odd mod that may be useful, maybe not, but it certainly is fun to play around with. So this thing sitting right behind me is called the Laser Emitter. Now I know what you're thinking, that's just a regular autocannon, and well, yes it is, until we turn it on. It was to grab hold of my character, come around to this very handy button panel, hit this button, we now see we've got a big old red beam shooting out of it. Now this red beam doesn't actually deal any damage. In fact, I can just stand in it, and well, as you can see here, we're just going to move the beam around. We're not going to die to this, we're not going to damage blocks, but what it will do, and what you can see is happening, is that the laser will be reflected into a different direction. You can use your character, you can use steel blocks, or whatever you want to do, just to move it around to make, say, a massive laser grid put around your base. In terms of its usefulness, what it will do is, well, turn blocks off. So say you have a land vehicle that rolls all the way through this laser, what's going to happen is all the blocks that hit the laser are going to get switched off, which will probably mean that any enemies trying to assault your base will then be a sitting duck. So for a quick demonstration of how this thing can reflect, grabbing hold of the steel block, making it into a armored slope, what I'm going to do is now just put it like this, about to put on the very corner, and now it's going across, and then over to there. If I want to say reflect it all the way back, there we go, it's now hitting into my assembler, and that assembler has now been switched off. Turning it on, as you can see, I can no longer turn it on, it's going to actively fight me, and well, that thing has been permanently disabled, until of course I move the beam around. There we go, we've now made a massive square all the way around me, so I'm now nice and safe from any kind of enemy trying to assault me directly on. Of course they still can come straight down on me because I'm in space, but hey ho, that's the demonstration. So let's now go through the block, and what we can do with it. So inside the spawn menu, once you've actually added this in through the world, you type in laser, and there it is right there. Should be very easy to find when typing laser in. That's simply what it looks like, and that is a cost to build it. So we see we've got 4 bulletproof glass, 50 computers, 100 superconductors, 20 radio components, 30 detector components, 16 motors, 40 construction components, and 50 steel plates. So it's quite an expensive block, but it could be certainly a lot of use, especially in a very hostile environment in survival mode. You just simply add this onto your hotbar, which I already have, just plop it onto a small grid. It is only for small grids, so you will have to do what I did right here and place it on a rotor. But then once you put it on, you simply turn it on, and then just set up your little perimeter using any old blocks, and well, Bob's your uncle. And yes, if you wanted to make a big old laser fence, what you can do is what I'm doing right now, just stack them on top of each other, like this, all the way up. That will do loads of them like that. Now I can come down to my button panel once again, access this, now we can turn them all on. And there we go. And you see we now got a massive fence going all the way around. Some of them have hit steel blocks in a distance, the others are just going off into infinity. Grabbing hold of the free camera, I'll show you the range that this thing can go. And well, yes, it's kind of a gigantic beam. So my platform is, well, you can just about make out the platform in the distance. And that is one hell of a lot of range on this thing. And yes, they do have a custom sound effect, which does sound like a table saw just cutting through wood continuously, so it might get a bit annoying. So you may have to turn that off if you want to. Yes, come back over to the platform. In fact, we'll look at it like so. There we are, we see the beam from a nice long distance. Just come back to the platform. I'll grab hold of my character once again. There it is. It's almost like a wrestling ring with how it's been set up, so you can always do that with your friends. Once again, grabbing hold of the slope, spinning that all the way around, and putting that around once again. And then one more time. There we are. We've now got a massive ring, and we're now nice and protected. There is one more thing that we can do with this laser emitter, and that is, of course, changing the color of it. So the way this works is that we shove in ammunition that we built from an assembler. Now that assembler has been currently blocked off, and well, it's turned off thanks to the laser. So coming to this very handy cargo container, what I've got is a bunch of different stuff. Now there is one more color, which is blue, but unfortunately I can't actually pull that out of the spawn menu because it doesn't exist. What I'm going to do is now just pull out this. There we go, we've got orange, we've got purple, we've got yellow, green, and of course the standard red. So coming all the way up to this, we'll then insert the ammunition, we then come out of that, turn around, and go into the seat that magically appeared out of nowhere, and now we can activate this, and now we can reload it properly. There we go, that's all ready to go. Pressing I, control panel, finding the laser emitter, here we go, turning them all on, and now just making sure they're actually all going to shoot. We now got a lovely orange light, which is not the ammunition I put inside, but it does not matter because we are in creative, and we can now just toggle between them. So there's yellow, we then got green, we then got blue, we then got pinky purple, we then got our standard red, and it does look bloody glorious with well, how that's all been set up. There we go, we now just spin all the way through it, and we can have a massive disco, and I'll just stop that for the moment. Anyway, yes, on the bottom left of the hotbar, you can see that our ammunition is currently draining because it does use proper ammunition. So in order to keep this going, it's not going to be a case of just slapping on a bunch of reactors. You will need to keep this stocked up with ammunition. And while the ammunition I put inside, the 72 I put inside, is going to last for quite some time. So there is a finite amount of time that this can be active if you were to ignore it. And I think we'll just go over to the blue side. I do like that blue colouring, that looks very nice. And yes, that's simply all it does. And of course, for one final demonstration, what I'm going to do is now spawn in a nice ship. We're just going to fly straight for that grid, and you can watch it get disabled. There's not too much else to talk about, it's very self-explanatory what it does, and should be fairly easy to set up. You want to say guide your lasers all around your base. And here we go to finish off this video. What I've done is spawned in the Ion Pocket Carrier. Did a showcase on this not too long ago. In fact, it might have been a very long time ago. My perception of time is absolutely terrible. And moving forwards, very slowly, we're now going to approach the laser grid. Here we go, we see the lasers now being reflected all around us. And there we are, look at that, we've made a disco ball. And as we're to move all the way along, we now see them being reflected absolutely everywhere. Every single little nook and cranny on this thing is, well, causing a lot of different things. And there we go, the armor panels on the top. And as you can see along the side there, pretty much everything just got disabled. But now that we're out of the laser grid, they've just been turned on. Let's reverse this all the way up. There we go. Now bring this all the way back down. And it should turn off the iron thrusters on the side. There we go, they're now completely disabled. So now moving backwards and moving forwards will be entirely reliant on the other thrusters on the opposite side. But it isn't going to be too much of a deterrence at the end of the day, which means when you set up a laser grid, what you need to do is make sure lasers are coming from both sides in order to make sure you can actually hit on the left and right hand side. If you were to come across a ship like this, you then disable both of the big thrusters at the back there, meaning the only way for me to scoot forwards would be basically on the small one right at the very top there. So now just turn this all the way around, look at the lasers go, absolute glorious. Let's go head on into this. And there we are with that. And yes, that's enough of me messing around with this. It's a lovely little mod to use in your world. If you do want to have something to act as a small perimeter wall on your base, or even just have this on a ship, to have it on the interior hangar bay, to make sure you know who's coming in and out, you can activate it, deactivate it, to make sure they can get, say, locked in, or just get disabled as they were to try and escape. So there'll be links in the description below to download and play around yourself. Highly recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video sometime soon. Bye bye.